Watch your Mersey Beatles. And welcome back to John Lennon's old school. Well, not actually his old school, but the allotments, his old school over there. And actually, it's the entrance to our plot. We stand outside John Lennon's old school every time we come in. So, yeah, here in Liverpool, in the shadow of John Lennon's old school, I should say. Now, remember in, it was March, I did a video and talking about the tomatoes, and I did a video. Part one of that video was how to plant tomatoes and avoid tomato blight. So I thought I'll do a follow-up to that now. It's the middle of July, and we're here on the plot, and I'll tell you how I got on with that. Now, this time of year is normally the time when the blight starts kicking in, and I've noticed on Facebook and other social media platforms that people have been getting blight with their tomatoes. And if you've ever had blight, you know it's a devastating thing. So I did a strategy this year, and the strategy was to avoid getting blight. Hopefully, we hope we don't get blight, but there's no guarantee. So the part of that strategy is, and I think I described this in the last video, was to plant out many different varieties of tomatoes, seek out blight resistant tomatoes, and to plant them in lots of different places. So to plant some in the greenhouse, to plant some outside here on the plot, to plant them at home in the home garden, and basically as many different environments, some in pots, some in the ground, and lots of different types. Now that's the basic strategy. So far, no sign of blight. Keeping my fingers crossed, no sign of blight. But I've also been doing a few other things that I thought I'll do a vlog about and explain to you where we're up to now, sort of mid-season, before the tomatoes actually ripen up. They're just starting to put on a bit of bulk. Some young tomatoes are starting to come through now, but it won't be obviously until August time, September probably, when we start picking tomatoes. But sort of like that's when it happens. It's called late blight. Now, anybody who knows anything about blight, it's basically it's like fungal spores, and it spreads. It's airborne, and it usually attacks tomatoes that are have poor resistance to it, or it's like it kind of it settles on the leaves. Usually, if the leaves get wet, if it's hot and damp, like it was last year, we had a hot, damp season. It's a bit different this year, because so far it's been hot and dry, very hot and dry, very more suited to the actual over the last few weeks. I don't know if it's been as hot where you are as it is here. I've got Catherine watching me here now. You know what? I can't even do a vlog on my own on this site without being heckled from the gallery over there. So, yeah, so it's more like the environment that you'd get in sort of southern Greece or the Mediterranean, where these tomatoes grow, or Mexico. Well, a lot of them come from South America. I'm going to have a look around now and talk about a few of the strategies I've been using to beat blight. And I'll do a follow-up video to this at the end of the season, when I'm hopefully picking tomatoes. Didn't pick any last year. Well, we had to destroy everything, and it's heartbreaking. You know, when you have to go through that, it's pretty heartbreaking, and I think a lot of gardeners have been through that at one time or another. I was determined this year to try and combat it. So I'll talk about that in a minute. So I'll turn the camera around and have a look at these tomatoes we've got growing out here. Okay, these tomatoes here, I'm growing outside. The conditions at the moment are perfect for them. These are bush varieties, so they are determinates. They don't grow like vines, they grow like bushes and keep quite short and compact like this. There are two varieties here. There's Legend and there is Heinz 1350, I think it's called. And they basically, you harvest them. They all ripen at the same time, so you have a big glut of tomatoes. The Heinz one was particularly developed by the company Heinz for the tomato sauces and soups and stuff like that. So having all them tomatoes ripen at once is perfect, because you know you just harvest them all together and you've got loads of tomatoes for your sauces. But they're also more than that. They are blight resistant. So I thought, plant them outside, see how they go. I've never planted these before, these varieties, by the way. So we'll see how these go. We'll go into the greenhouse and have a look, see what we're growing there. Okay. In the greenhouse, absolutely packed in tomatoes. These are the vine varieties, and there are about 12 plants here, and it is overcrowded, I would say. But again, these are apparently blight resistant varieties, and I think you can see that they're very healthy. There's no sign of blight at the moment. They're looking good. In here we've got black opal and some Alicia Craig, Gardener's Delight, Sun Gold. There's loads. I can't even mention what they all are, but there's lots of different varieties. This, by the way, tapping the flowers is a good way of pollinating them in greenhouses to make sure they're self-fertile tomato flowers. You just tap them and they will pollinate themselves. They've got male and female pots. So there's some more over here. The greenhouse we share with peppers, tomatoes and peppers in here, and because it's only a small greenhouse, I do tend to cram things in, and we've got some peppers in pots here. All different varieties of peppers. So there's sweet peppers and chili peppers growing here. But back to the tomatoes, what I've been doing is I've been thinning out the leaves, particularly the ones at the bottom here, and taking the leaves off just to make a bit more airflow at the bottom, and I'm watering them with using these bottles here, so I'm not actually touching the plants themselves. So yeah. What the hell is a fur doing going through the park?
Dodgers, big fairground, two huge articulated lorries. They nearly took the trees out.
I know, I've just seen them.
The trees.
Well, that's a first.
Why are they going through here? That's ridiculous.
Isn't it? you doing?
They are huge things, and they got so close to these trees here. Gosh almighty. It's a park, not a motorway.
It's very true.
Why are they cutting through? Why don't they go round and come in at the far end? They've got an entrance there.
They're doing it to annoy you.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't take much. Right, I'll get back to my tomato vlog. So as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted. Yeah, I'm thinning out the leaves because they are overcrowded. But look at this. That's okay, isn't it? Oh, you know what? After such a winter that we've had and a cold spring, to see that is glorious. You know, and to know that these have all been grown from seed is even more wondrous. So that's why we do it, isn't it? That's Marglobe, I think that one is, which is a beefsteak type of tomato. So yeah, I thin out the leaves at the bottom here to increase the airflow at the bottom of the plant, and so that's one part of the strategy. Also, we've got an automatic vent here, so when it goes over, I think it's 24 degrees centigrade, that opens, so that increases the airflow. It's important also to leave the door ajar on these hot days. The thing that blight loves is hot, humid conditions. It absolutely thrives on that, and like any virus, it loves being indoors. So if anything were to get were to attack the tomatoes, it would be in a greenhouse, because the airflow is not very good. You know, it's a bit like the coronavirus. You know, it's you're less likely to get it out of doors. So, but that's not the only reason. I've been using this. I've been spraying the tomatoes with this stuff, and I'll just show you what I've been doing. Basically, spraying the leaves. Now, this is the last thing you should be doing to avoid blight. You would say, don't get the leaves wet. That's the general advice, is not to wet the leaves. But I spray these tomatoes every 2 weeks with this, and it contains soluble aspirin. So I put 1 aspirin in a spray gun like this, bring it down the plot, and spray them thoroughly every 2 weeks. Aspirin is a natural occurring plant hormone, and what you're doing is, when you're spraying it on the plant, you're actually fooling the plant to believe that it's being attacked by some kind of virus, but obviously it's not. It's a bit like, you know, when you get the jab for coronavirus, it's a bit like that, but this is for plants, and you spray them and you fool the plant into activating its own immune system, a bit like getting a jab, and it protects itself. Now, that's the theory, and apparently the science backs it up. It is backed up scientifically that this works. So you can't over saturate with aspirin. Every 2 weeks, give it a good spraying, give all your plants a good spraying. It toughens the plants up, and apparently also it increases the vitamin C content of the fruit and the taste and sweetness of your tomatoes. Believe it or not, it's true. But I've never tried this before. This is my first season of using this method. So I've been religiously coming down here and doing this, and I thought I'd just vlog it and show you what I'm doing. Now, I have noticed, right, we see these little brown spots on the edges of leaves, but I'm not sure whether that's just dieback because of lack of water, or it's just getting too hot in the greenhouse, because that's not a sign of blight that I recognise. It's just brown edges to the leaves, a bit of dieback. But that's very rare. I've got to take them leaves off, actually. In fact, yeah, I will. So anytime you see anything like that, just remove them, just in case. You know, yeah. So that's the strategy I've been using. And I think it's important to just be thorough with your spraying. It's also said that if you spray seeds with aspirin, then you can increase your germination rate to 100% germination. It prevents dampening off and various other things, not just with tomatoes, but with other plants as well. What can't you do with the common aspirin? You've got to get the water soluble type of aspirin though. And don't go for ibuprofen and all of that stuff. Just aspirin that's water soluble and derived from plants. So that's what strategy I use. So as you can see, the plants are looking alright, aren't they? I think they're looking alright. Do you know what? See, you shouldn't garden with a woman. Can you hear that? Can you? She just wants to be on telly. She wants to be on the internet telly. Anyway, it's lovely down here in the evening. We're doing this in the evening, and they're coming down here. It's totally sultry, and I'm sure you agree the tomatoes are looking great, aren't they? Looking gorgeous. Yeah. I haven't got my best dress on to show them off, as I would like to. But yeah, these are tomatoes. Oh, I want to take you outside because I want to show you something. I just wonder if anybody is growing these. I'll turn the camera around. Anybody growing these? These things. Anybody growing them? It's actually it's called a tomatillo. These are tomatillo plants, and they're distant relatives to tomatoes. They are tomatoes, in fact, but they're a cousin of them. They grow in Mexico, and they grow in these like lanterns. See these lanterns? And they're kind of you can feel them in there, kind of like filling out. And they fill that lantern, and when they pop out the bottom, you know they're ready. They're grown mainly for. They're so easy to grow as well. I think they're easier to grow than tomatoes. In Britain, you get the conditions right, and they're away. And look, there's like hundreds of them, and they grow from a single flower, which you can see here. Single flower that gets pollinated. The bees love them, and they pollinate them, and they put out these lanterns. And when them lanterns are filled, you've got your tomatillos. And they're mostly used for making salsa verde. So you mix the tomatillos with tomatoes, and peppers. So it makes a spicy verde dip, salsa dip, whatever, blitz it in the machine. But I think they're great, and I think I'll be growing these again because they're so much fun. So yeah, let me know if you're growing them. Fabulous, I love them. So yeah, I think that's the essence of growing tomatoes. So if you enjoyed that vlog, thumb in the air like that, thumb in the air. like the video, leave a comment, and tell us what you thought. I'd love to know how your tomatoes are doing as well. Let us know wherever you are in the world. Let us know. And to all our new subscribers, hello, where have you been? Where have you been hiding? Which part of the world are you from? You know, you know where we're from. Well, you know, yeah, let us know. It's always good to hear from you, and yeah, it's a community. YouTube's a community, so we like the feedback. So yeah, subscribe to us, follow us on Instagram, and like our videos and watch them if you like. Look at that. See that? Stalking. She can't keep out the camera. See what I mean?
Someone's got to work around here.
See what I mean? She can't. Anyway, thanks for watching, and see you again soon. Bye.